So
perhaps I'm not doing as well as I thought.
Cam has been challenged to read this article.
All right. How to win in a fight. How to win a fight against 20 children.
I love this.
I'm not going to ask why you're fighting 20 children. That's your own business, although most reasons are as old as time itself. 1. They started it. 2. You flipped over the table while losing a Magic the Gathering game and damaged several rare cards. 3. They stole your woman. 4. You stole their woman. 5. You've had enough of their bull bus. Whether you're a good man who's in the wrong place at the wrong time or a dangerous maniac, we here at Cracked want to help. That's why we've consulted with the experts, who did not wish to be named, on how to maximize your odds of winning a fight against 20 children. Follow these guidelines and your opponents will wish they were never born 6 or 7 years ago. Use an appropriate technique. Mixed martial arts are geared almost exclusively toward one-on-one combat and are not designed to take on multiple tiny aggressors. As a grown adult, you could be fairly assured of absolutely destroying a 7-year-old if you took him to the floor for a ground and pound. But by doing so, you'd expose your back and head to his peers. Your best bet is to stay on your feet and use striking techniques. Karate is one good choice. It was originally designed in the 1600s for use by unarmed Japanese daycare workers. Be aware of the terrain. By default, you're going to have the height advantage against 20 children, but be sure you don't cede it. Avoid fighting around picnic tables, monkey bars, or anything with which a particularly daring child could launch an aerial attack. The ideal situation is fighting children who are trapped in a ditch below you. Stay mobile. Unless you're extremely lucky and find yourself fighting 20 infants, you're going to be at a mobility disadvantage when fighting a large group of children. You must avoid becoming surrounded at all costs. Keep moving and always trying to position the bulk of the children on one side of you. Circle, sidestep, and use tactical retreats to try and engage a single child at a time where your reach and decades of muscular development should prove an advantage. Speed. You want this fight to be over fast. Children have boundless amounts of energy and you'll tire quickly as the fight progresses. If you schedule your fights with 20 children in advance for some reason, I urge you to focus your pre-training regimen on cardiovascular conditioning and snorting eye-wateringly large amounts of cocaine. Intimidation. Although I don't expect you to be intimidated by the prospect of fighting 20 children, given the self-confidence that comes with maturity, remember that intimidation is a two-way street. 20 is a big number, and if that many children lose their fear of you, watch out. Use fierce roars and displays of strength to frighten the children. When taunting, remember that children are almost comedically stupid and won't understand any of your more creative taunts. You won't intimidate anyone if you have to explain 3 times specifically what you did to their mother last night. Go for the leader first. Assuming the 20 children lack military training, they're going to behave more like a pack of animals than a cohesive group. By default, pack animals will defer to an alpha leader, and if you manage to subdue that child, the rest of the pack will quickly lose their will to fight. In some cases, the leader will be actively giving orders and therefore easy to identify. Other times, they'll be harder to pick out. In those cases, go for the tallest one, or the one with the most Pokemon on their clothing. Once the alpha child is lying in a heap, you've got a narrow window of intimidation open while the children regroup. I'd recommend lifting his body over your head and screaming yourself hoarse. That's the smart veteran move.
Getting close to being done here.
Groin attacks. In general, the crotch is a small, easily defensible target and not typically a factor in most fights at a reasonably professional level. That said, when children are attacked by an adult, they're rarely going to respond professionally. Again, if you have forewarning that you will soon be coming to blows with 20 children, absolutely wear a cup. If you do get struck in the groin, under no circumstances should you place your hand on your genitals to massage away the pain. Touching your privates while surrounded by minors is illegal in many states and frowned upon in the rest. Weapons. I'd suggest refraining from using weapons, not just because of the harsh mandatory minimum sentencing laws that are a sad reality in this modern age. By bringing a weapon, you might prompt the children to bring weapons as well. This kind of escalation plays against you. Whereas before you could fairly safely absorb several dozen tiny little punches before being incapacitated, you're now at risk of being dropped by a single lucky strike. If a child with a pair of safety scissors gets at your Achilles tendon, the groin of the ankle, then you're cooked, buddy. Let the last one walk away. In professional 20-child fighting leagues, this is now tradition, but even during raw underground 20-child street fights, it serves an important purpose. By letting that child spread word of your great strength and not to be bus-wittedness among the other children of the area, you can ensure that it will be a long time indeed before someone else mules at you that you're hogging the swings.
My favorite part about that came really early on. It was the part where it specified unarmed Japanese daycare workers, implying that there are armed Japanese daycare workers.
Yep.
I don't want to know what they're armed with.
That was $15. Thank you very much for your donation.
Thank you so much, chat.
This is all I could think of that whole time.
Oh, Kramer.
Oh, yeah.
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 Just Kramer beating up children.
But then he gets ruffle stomped at the end of that episode.
Yeah.
Right? They all gang up on him and
Yeah.
chase him up a fire escape.
He didn't read the article.
No, obviously not. Because he could have just jumped off and landed on him. That would have taken him 2, maybe 3.